You're in an elevator. Everyone is facing the door. You are too. But why? Who told you to do that? When did you decide? You're in a library. You're whispering, but no one asked you to. There's no sign, no rule. No one shushed you. You walked in and your voice got quiet all on its own. You're on a bus with 40 empty seats. Someone gets on and sits right next to you. And it feels wrong. Deeply wrong, like they broke something. But what? What rule did they break? Can you name it? Here's what I want you to sit with for a second. Every single day you follow a rulebook. You follow it perfectly. But no one ever wrote it. No one ever handed it to you. No one sat you down and said, face the elevator door, or whisper in the library, or leave a seat between you and the stranger. These aren't laws. They're not instincts. They're something else. They're invisible rules, programmed into you by a system you can't see. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how deep that system runs. Let's start with the one you feel most. Personal space. In 1966, an anthropologist named Edward Hall measured it. He called the field proxemics, the study of how humans use distance. He found a consistent, invisible bubble around every person, 18 inches to 4 feet. And when someone steps inside that bubble uninvited, a stranger on the bus, a person standing too close in a queue, your body reacts. Your muscles tighten, your heartbeat shifts. You lean away before your brain even forms the thought too close. No one taught you that distance. You absorbed it. You were never given the rule. You just started following it. But the bubble is personal. The next one is social, and it's stranger. In a famous experiment, a hidden camera recorded people getting into an elevator, except everyone already inside was facing the back wall. A new person walks in. They see everyone facing the wrong direction, and within seconds, without a word being spoken, they turn around and face the back wall too. No one spoke. No one explained. No one asked. Their body followed the crowd before their brain could object. And it's not just elevators. In 1951, a psychologist named Solomon Asch ran one of the most unsettling experiments in the history of psychology. He showed people a simple test. 1 line on a card and 3 comparison lines. Which one matches? The answer was obvious, but here's the trick. Everyone else in the room was in on it, and the group deliberately gave the wrong answer. 75% of participants conformed at least once. They gave an answer they knew was wrong, not because they were confused, not because they couldn't see, because the group said something different and the invisible rule said, match the group. You're not always choosing what you believe. Sometimes you're just matching. And the rules don't just shape what you say, they shape what you do, even when someone's life is at stake. It's called the bystander effect. Someone collapses in the street. 50 people walk past. Not because they're cruel, because every one of them is looking at every other one of them. And the invisible rule says, if nobody else is helping, it must not be an emergency. The more people present, the less likely anyone helps. The crowd becomes its own permission to do nothing. Now think about tipping. In America, you tip 20%. It's not a law, but if you don't, you feel like you've committed a crime. In Japan, tipping is an insult. The same gesture, opposite meaning. Neither is natural. Both were written by culture and enforced entirely by shame. Not by logic, not by law, by the feeling of being watched or queuing. You stand in line. No law requires it. No one will arrest you for cutting. But if someone does cut the queue, you feel it in your chest. The outrage is instant, visceral. A rule that exists nowhere on paper has more emotional power than most actual laws. That's how deep the programming goes, and it gets stranger. You're at a beach in a swimsuit, completely normal. Now walk into a restaurant in that same swimsuit. Same body, same weather. But it feels wrong. The only thing that changed is an invisible rule about what you should wear where. You read that rule instantly without thinking, and it was never written down. Or small talk. Someone asks, "How are you?" You say, "I'm fine." But you're not. and they don't really want to know. Because that question isn't a question, it's a social script. How are you means I acknowledge you. I'm fine means acknowledged, we can continue. You've been performing this exact script since childhood, and you've never once treated it as a real question. So here's the question that matters. Who writes these rules? The answer is the most disturbing part. Nobody. No one sits in a room and decides how far apart you should stand, or which direction to face, or when to whisper. There's no author, no authority, no moment of creation. These rules emerge from the crowd and enforce themselves. The rulebook wrote itself. But here's what proves just how fast invisible rules can appear from nothing. In 1971, a psychologist named Philip Zimbardo took a group of ordinary college students at Stanford. He randomly assigned them roles, guards and prisoners. He gave them uniforms. Within days, brutal rules emerged that no one had written. Guards punished, prisoners submitted, hierarchies formed, cruelty surfaced. No one told them to behave that way. The structure created the behavior. The roles created the rules. The invisible code assembled itself in less than a week. And in 1963, Stanley Milgram showed how far it goes. He asked ordinary people to deliver what they believed were painful electric shocks to a stranger in another room. A man in a lab coat, not a judge, not a general, just a man in a white coat with a clipboard, told them to continue. 2/3 of them went all the way. They delivered what they believed were lethal shocks. Because a costume and a clipboard said, "Please continue." Not a law, not a court order, a coat and a clipboard. That was all it took. Because the invisible rule, the deepest one of all, Bowden, is this. Authority means compliance. And you follow it before you even decide whether you agree. Every single day you follow hundreds of invisible rules. Some of them are good. Face the elevator door. Wait your turn. Respect the bubble. They keep the social machine running smoothly, but some of them, conformity, silence, automatic obedience, are strings. They make you smaller, and the only power they have is that you never see them, and now you can see the strings.